traffic heading to the track. You know, check out the street Outlaws, you know, ain't no thing.
And a monster deep, major speak with this funk and yo Drake. What up? Break him off something, yo. If it ain't another that I got to get with, gap teeth in your mouth, so my hit got to fit.
Vegas, man.
What's happening, man? Good to see you always. Always good to see you. What up, Slinky Slink? Good to see you. The Honda. Well, y'all got it together now, so yeah.
I'll have it. I think I'm gonna take it to the nice number.
Okay, cool, man. I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. You been patient. You've been patient with that too. Yeah, that's a lot of time. Yep. What's up, Jim? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. You got it back on the road, man. You got it back on the road. Good. Yes. Yep. But you know, I'm still back home. Spot on, still that spot out there too. It's up here. It gotta be older. Kid, bring him to his car. Bring him to the race car.
in, grabbing 2 bottles of argon, already pass them off to me. That way we'll have some more argon to complete the welding of the intake manifold. Have our argon loaded up. Let's move. Okay, I'm slowly bouncing around from port to port to weld up the inside of the gaps where the intake manifold flange is mating to the cylinder head flange. Okay, I just got finished welding up each one of the intake ports where the pipe plenum runners mate up against the backing plate right here. So I went around the diameter of each one of these just to make sure I got a good seal, and I'm going to bolt on the intake plenum so that way everything is still nice and hot. Let's do a double check. Yeah, that bad boy's hot anyway. So I'm about to do a bolt up to bolt this to this, so that way while everything is hot, it'll still kind of seal up. I don't want this to warp or distort. I was just bouncing around from port to port to kind of dissipate the heat. But anyway, let's get this bolted up before this thing starts warping or anything like that. Back outside playing with the TT. Got the plenum separated from the backing plate and runners, and I am about to port match where I welded up the gaps where the piping was welded to this backing plate. So let's get it done, turn on some music, and get this finished. Back outside playing with the TT, about to upgrade the alternator to a 220 amp alternator from the Porsche Cayenne alternator that I have on here, which is a 190. So this extra little current will come in handy for our aftermarket ignition coils, aftermarket fuel pump, and a lot of the other electronics that we're running on this car. Let's go ahead and get started. Have the alternator off, and luckily I have this tool I bought a few years ago for removing the pulleys. So I had a spacer on here so that all the belts could line up, and what I'm going to do is take this pulley off, take the spacer off of that one, put it on here. Another thing that I usually do, I'll spray some lubricant over here, thread my bolt into position, and usually I'll put a socket, lay this on the side, and then get a hammer and then tap this bolt, so that way when this is laying on the side I have a nice solid base so that you don't break this ear off. I've seen or heard of people breaking this off before. Pretty upset. They bought a new alternator or take their own alternator off, and to get that another one back on or put it back in position, these are drawn in so tight they have a hard time getting it in. So I'll lube it up, tilt this over to the side like I said, and then just get a hammer, and of course I'm holding it, and tap it down just a little bit. You got to be careful. If you got a cheap bolt, of course you can stretch the threads in the bolt, but usually that's the idea, just to get these open back up just a little bit. Of course you can get a puller, put it on the other side and do the same thing, but this is just a quick, easy way to do it. Replacement alternator is installed, and you can kind of eyeball that and see that everything is lined up really good. So all my pulleys are lined up. Remove the spacer. So for those that are taking off the pulley, remember righty is loosey, lefty is tighty on this. So it's just the opposite. So we know these are left hand threads on the alternator. It's usually on a regular right hand bolt, righty tighty, lefty loosey. But on these alternators, in order to take this pulley off, you have to go the opposite direction. Alternators mounted, and I was doing a quick test fit of an oil flange adapter that I'm going to be using on here. So the original oil cooler is actually a little large, and it would be in the way of this pipe right here, this tube. I had to rotate this tube, reclock it on this angle, because originally it pointed upward, and therefore if it pointed upward, I don't have any room for the plenum. So luckily I was able to clock it one bolt position over, angle it down, but the housing for the oil cooler was right up almost against it, so it would have been really tight trying to get a hose in there. So I just bought an aftermarket oil cooler adapter. I'll mount that in position and just run some external lines. Luckily the factory thermostat and everything will still work fine, looks pretty good in there. And I'll mount this with 2 extra hoses, a feed and a return line to go to an external oil cooler. Not bad, don't have to worry about these things leaking. Lately they've been doing pretty good, but in the past a few of them have leaked, or if it gets cracked or anything from excessive temperatures, but less likely of a chance of getting the coolant and the oil mixed up using that, because this is strictly oil only. Another thing to note also is with me extending the runners and this intake manifold, I have just enough clearance for the injector connectors to fit. As you can see, very, very tight fit. I'll be able to get both of them in there and fit up under here. So that is good. The top ones, I have to do a little trick and modify the top injectors to fit because we're running dual fill rails, but the whole primary purpose with me extending the runners, I had to eliminate the spacer, but I can get my bottom fill rail into position, which is under there, and that is great. So we can commence with running our stage injection, the original direct injection, and port fill injector also, which would be good. But the original fill rail, as you can see here, is lining up directly across from the injector. So actually 1, 3, and 5 was in the way, and I will have to modify these injector housings, the connectors, in order to get these to fit with the original style. Well, with the aftermarket runners. I machined some spacers so that once I clamp this down nice and tight, it will seal my intake manifold to my cylinder head. The aluminum adapter plate for the plenum is smaller than the original factory runner mounting point that actually secures the fill rail and goes through that part. So this is a little bit thinner. The factory one is plastic, of course, because it's plastic intake runners, and I had to make up some shims just to fit in between. So they're nice and neat, they fit nice and snug. Perfect dimension, so that way once this is compressed with my hardware, it will seal my O-rings that's machined onto the back of this onto my cylinder head, and hopefully everything is still up nice with no leaks. But either way, once I get everything mounted up together, I will do a test. So I'll do a test on here. I'll secure my plenum to this backing plate, bolt everything down, put my O-rings in, plug all my ports up and the hose, and I'll go ahead and pressure test it to see how many PSI I can get in this bad boy. Back outside, got Teddy out there help working on the TT. Let's see what he's doing. Getting those shocks done. Teddy over here grinding, getting it in. Gotta get this beast on the road. Putting the struts on there. Swapped over the bearings, and I'm going to finish playing with this intake manifold. Put this on the belt stand to make sure everything's even up from all the welding, and then later on I'll bolt it to that and boost test it. Got the big monster 4-inch pipe that's going to be coming off the plenum. Then we got our Bosch Motorsport throttle body. This piece right here is for our vibrant fittings, so that way we don't have to do any welding on top of the Bosch Motorsport throttle body. We can just sit here, bolt this in place, clamp our V-band, clamp right on top of that. This flange right here, got the titanium bolts that'll bolt our Bosch Motorsport into that, made up to this big, huge 4-inch pipe. This other pipe right here, this plate, this will get cut. This will get mounted to the intake plenum itself. take this, goes perfectly up here, and then we'll come off of here with a 4-inch J-pipe and lead into the throttle body. We're about to wrap it up for the night. Eddie got the shocks on the car. He was out here grinding, working hard. Got these joints up on there. They look good. Did a test fit. Got the fill rail up in there and the plenum. That bad boy up in there looking good.
You know it.
Both sides. So we was grinding today, getting this big monster together. Can't wait, can't wait. This thing looks beautiful. You know, we got to get this thing up and running so this bad boy can put some numbers on the board. Period.